What's going on, guys? I'm over here at BITECH. You can see it behind me here. And I was just meeting up with a friend, having coffee. There's a True Coffee downstairs. And we were talking about innovation and being innovative and sort of what that takes, especially, you know, in today's world. So I'm about to walk back home and I'm gonna take the Skybridge over to the next station, which is Udomsuk. So I figured I'd bring you guys along with me, show you this Skybridge and some of the area around. Let's go. All right, guys, here we go. We're gonna walk over to Udomsuk from Bang Na here at BITECH. It's really a beautiful area. Check out this old Thai house, big temple in the background. You see the dorm for the temple. I like this little modern one on the Soy though, right on Sukhumvit. But, you know, really what I was talking with my buddy about today was, you know, innovation. How can you be innovative today? You know, and what does it take to really be innovative? And that's sort of a conversation that comes up a lot, I think, in any space, whether it's when I was working in tech or big data or engineering, and now with design and more creative stuff. Innovation is always sort of at the heart of the conversation. This is the soy that goes down to the Wat, I believe. Yeah. You can see the two sort of gates to the temple here. I'll have to check this out sometime, walk down there. But, you know, innovation is something that's really interesting because there's different types of innovation. You know, there's the innovation that, you know, is disruptive and changes everything, you know, whether it's an idea or a technology or a design. And that's a lot more rare, innovation-wise. It's a massive, complex, really futuristic looking. We'll try it over here from the bump out and see if we can get a better view. And then right at street level, all these old shops. Love this old building architecture. I mean, it's really simple. It's not super efficient, but it has its own beauty to it. Very minimalist in a way. You know, I think about innovation from the perspective, especially when I was an engineer or when I was working in startups. Everyone wants to be innovative, right? Everyone wants the newest, hottest innovation to come from their company. And that's not always possible. A lot of times what we're looking at is more of an iterative innovation. See if we get a better view of these buildings from over here, from inside the bridge without the bridge in the way. That's so wild. Really like that design. And it's got like a little community mall here on the ground level. But, you know, to the point of innovation, you know, what does it take to be innovative in today's world, in today's market? And to me, a lot of it just comes down to work product. Are you producing enough work? Are you actually, you know, making iterative steps towards what you want to create? Check out this building. You can see how massive BITECH is here. Sorry, I've got the culvert things kind of blocking the way a bit, but I think you guys can sort of see. You get a better view of this one from up ahead, but that's a nice big building. Looks like 3, maybe 1.5 size units down below. I don't know if you can see that cool building out in the distance there. It's pretty wild. Looks like it's a bit underexposed because of the sunlight, because of the direction of the sun. We'll see how it looks when I edit the footage. It's a part of the city a lot of people don't get to a lot. To Bang Na, Udomsuk. It's only a couple stops short of me. This building here is called the Coast, this really cool looking one that I was showing before. The Coast. So when I look at innovation from a design perspective, I'm never designing something, whether it's, you know, a garment or product design or package design, or even just a graphic design for a t-shirt, which I'll have more information about the Idea Store shop coming soon. I got some interesting t-shirt designs I'm gonna start doing, maybe like a monthly drop or a bi-monthly drop, and putting new designs out for a limited time. But I always approach my designs from an iterative perspective. I have a concept, I want to develop that concept, and I'll come up with the base design, and then I want to innovate on it. I want to take it one step further, one step at a time. And that's my own personal process. You know, I've never been involved with a company where it was this big, massive innovation right up front. I think, you know, when I worked for Cosmo, that was probably the closest thing. That sort of 1 hour online delivery was a unique concept at the time, but it didn't really go on to change the world. It took, you know, quite a few iterations on that concept, and to come to the idea of gig economy for that to really catch on. I like these 5-story buildings with the roof on top, with the roof deck that's covered. I always think those are really nice. That's the type of building Jib and I are always talking about. We would like to get something, you know, 4 or 5 stories with a covered roof that we could use for a number of different things on each level, and then live up top. Not on the roof, but obviously the top floor, and then the roof access would be our deck and stuff. And then everything below that would be one aspect of our business, whether we put a showroom and then the sewing studio, then more craft stuff on another floor. It would all depend. But that is the long-term plan, somewhere in the city. Huge old factory or warehouse over here. Little shops down below the highway. So yeah, from my innovation perspective, it's always just been about iteration. And like I said, when I worked at Cosmo, that idea was incredibly innovative. It changed the market for a short time, but Cosmo ultimately didn't succeed. And of course, Cosmo wasn't my idea either. I was just an employee early on at Cosmo. But when the idea of the gig economy came around, and then you see companies like Uber or Grab, DoorDash are able to leverage that aspect, that gig economy aspect, much more than Cosmo was able to do with the idea of everyone being an employee. Check out this little market over here. This is a cool aspect of Bangkok, where you can have this old architecture and then these newer buildings sort of in the background, right on the same block. I really appreciate that. This is so wild, this turn here, this off-ramp. You can see how close people actually are to the walkway. This is the end of the walkway, and here are cars going by. That's wild. So, yeah, innovation from that perspective, guys. It's however you want to approach it. I have a lot of friends who they only want to do things that are 100% original and unique. And every time they sit down to do a project, it needs to at least be 10x better than anything else. That's very much a sort of 0 to 1 Peter Thiel methodology, which I don't 100% agree with necessarily. I think that you can have very important innovations that are iterative, that are 1x, 1.5x ahead of the previous iteration, and still add a lot of value to the market. I've always thought it was funny for people to say, you know, everything's going to be a 10x or a 20x, or you have to completely be unique and, you know, changing to the world changing. And I don't necessarily agree with that. It's so wild to be walking right by the highway. Really great sort of industrial views though. The stairway's a little sketch. Very steep. Very steep. You can walk out over here, get out onto that soy if you want. So, yeah. I don't know, what do you guys think about innovation? Do you work in a space where innovation's required? Or do you work in a space where it's sort of just status quo? Here's some like labor accommodations. These guys probably work on some construction projects. And you can see like a little community has popped up over here, a little economy to support it. Now, I remember when I was an engineer, I always thought like, oh, innovation is going to be a key thing to what we do. And that was never the case. When I was a telecom engineer, innovation was the last thing they wanted you talking about. That was the last thing they wanted engineers doing. They wanted you to very much just follow the status quo, because from a big company perspective, that's what keeps profits safe. A few steps here. I think for me, that was probably the most frustrating thing of being an engineer at a telecom, at a major telecom, was the focus on not being innovative, on not being creative. That was a big driving factor in why I left. And you get a little bit better view of this sort of labor camp here. I don't know if labor camp's the right term, but usually when you see spots set up like this, these are generally either older communities that have been here for a while, which this section might be. However, I think that the one under the bridge looks like it was just sort of erected for laborers. Oh, we're coming up on where they're building that huge new mall. Let's take a look at that. Some great sunlight. Very sunny out. So here's that new mall they're building. It's going to be the biggest mall in Thailand, I believe. All these construction cranes hard at work. Cool looking apartment buildings behind there. There's a train overhead. Heading back into the city. As I was saying though, one of the main reasons I left my job as an engineer was because of the focus on not being innovative, on just sort of holding the status quo. And I wasn't really into that. I wasn't down with that for sure. And it was a big reason that pushed my decision to exit. You know, along with poor leadership and a toxic culture at the company. You know, all things that are never conducive to good productivity or innovation. So, you know, when I came to Asia, I worked with a number of innovative companies on a number of innovative projects. But again, they were iterations of innovation based on some previous work, which I think I feel comfortable with because of my academic background and doing research, and everything is innovative in research. Very rarely is there a wholly unique concept that comes up from research and changes the world, right? It's a very iterative and sort of consensus-driven process. It's like this could be like a Thai version of an old diner sitting right in front of the new mall. You know, a good view of some of those construction cranes. I love that they have these skywalks that go right between different neighborhoods. Makes it very easy to walk between the two stations. Save yourself, I think, 10 baht if you walk one station. Oh, almost fell there. Very cool construction site. This is going to be wild when this is built. Definitely going to be one of those things that's a game changer for our neighborhood. For sure. I love that they have the Skybridge, like I said, that goes between the two. It just makes getting around so much easier. Oh, here's a little local motorbike dealership. Let's take a look here. Looks like they have Vespa, Honda, Suzuki, something else I don't recognize the logo. Honda's definitely the, oh, Yamaha maybe? But Honda's definitely the #1 seller in Thailand, by far. By far. Now this building's kind of interesting because it's just here, like you can tell, they just didn't sell to the mall. And they're just a holdout. Either they think they're gonna have prime real estate or they're holding out for more money, or I don't know, maybe they did sell and the mall was just like, yeah, we don't need it. We'll put something else there. You can tell it's in rough shape. And they've clearly just ripped everything down around it. So yeah, maybe they didn't sell, they're holding out. It looks like there's a for rent sign on it. So if you want prime real estate, you might be able to snap this up. Really piss off the mall. It looks like this is where they bring equipment in and out, or heavy equipment. Bring the trucks in and out. Yeah, it looks like that's probably it. Looks like there's a little bit of street art over on, or a little bit of graffiti over on one of these buildings over here. Might be too far to see with the GoPro, but let's take a look. You can definitely see the haze out in the skyline. It's that white building right there, a little bit of art on it. Looks like sort of a Peter Rabbit type display. Security control room, empty. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone in one of these. Maybe they're not staffed up yet, or maybe they're not being implemented yet. Some other cool buildings back here. Right behind where that big mall is gonna be. Prime location, easy shopping. The other nice thing about being able to walk on this sky bridge, despite the noise, I mean, obviously that's not great with the train overhead and the traffic below, but you're completely out of the sun, which I love. I don't want to get a sunburn on my bald spot, which is always getting bigger for some reason. I don't know. Can't explain it. Take a look down this soy here. Nice. So yeah, guys, that's just my thoughts on innovation. You know, I think the more practical, the more the more DIY way to do it is that small innovations. Of course, there are people who are going to come up with massive innovations and change the game in some way. But even if you think of Facebook, right? Facebook wasn't a huge, unique innovation. They licensed a lot of technology and IP from Friendster when Friendster went out of business. And I don't even know if Friendster was the first social network. Maybe MySpace was, or MySpace came after Friendster or High Five. But Facebook made all these other iterations that just put them above and beyond. You know, not just technologically, but marketing-wise, and their ability to control narrative. I mean, what they did to control the social media market was pretty amazing. And check out this rooftop garden, that's pretty wild. It's not in great shape, but just the concept I love. All those little pots up on the roof, very cool. I love just having a little garden area myself. I just weeded out my garden and planted a bunch of chilies. A lot of you guys actually gave me some advice on how to, you know, take care of the chilies and water them and how to make my own fertilizer on one of the live streams. So I've been doing that. Hopefully I'll have my own fresh chilies. I'll have ghost peppers, purple bird's eyes, and purple jalapenos. Big empty swath of land out here in the middle of Bangkok. I always get a kick out of that. Big empty pieces of land. So anyway, from my perspective, I'm very much a DIY guy, right? I want to do things myself. I want to get my hands dirty, be part of what the process is. And I think that approach to innovation, that DIY approach, where everything is just iterative, but you've got to iterate in a way that fits what you want to do. I think that's super important. And that's one of the things that a lot of people miss. My friend who I was talking to just a little while ago at BITECH, he's all concerned about, you know, being completely unique and original. And I think that's kind of a mistake. I think that's one of the traps that startup people fall into, is they think that everything they do has to be unique, has to be 100% original. And that's not the case at all. You could easily find improvements and iterations on previous ideas. Maybe that worked or didn't work because the timing wasn't right. Who knows? That's a cool soy. But, you know, from my perspective, like I said, DIY, wanting to get it done myself. For me, all day, every day, it's going to be about that iterative innovation. Taking small steps and making it fit what it is you're doing. If you're not doing that, then what are you actually doing? Oh, you can see Udomsuk is up ahead. Not a lot of traffic today. It is a holiday here in the Big Mango. Tomorrow I got 2 live streams. Oh, I guess it doesn't matter if I talk about it here because this will come out after those, but Saturday live streams have been going really well nonetheless. Bangkok Strange and Idea Studio. Bangkok Strange, I'm really loving. I love just the collaboration I have with Mike. You know, and that show was innovation. You know, the version of the show that we have with Mike was an iteration and an innovation based on what me and Woody did when Woody was no longer able to be part of the show. There's some more empty land out here in Udomsuk, quite a bit of it. If any of you guys are real estate developers, want to buy up some probably very expensive land in what will probably be a very hot neighborhood once that mall is done, here's your opportunity. Just sitting there waiting. So nice to be out here just walking. I think I'm actually going to walk from Udomsuk over to Punyawati, so maybe I'll film that as well, because that will be a real local view of things. But yeah, ultimately, man, really just nice walk, thinking about innovation, thinking about creativity, thinking about development, new projects, having the opportunity to talk to the microphone and just get my ideas out there. It's sort of like a note-taking process for me. Oh, here's the main soy in Udomsuk, I guess. Yeah, Udomsuk, see the sign. That's quite busy. Oh, not that busy. There's an escalator coming up. Some amazing wiring jobs out here on the corner. Like I said, I always get a kick out of those. Little pigeon friend up here. Dirty little birds. Alright guys, well that brings me to the end of the skywalk. Bang Na and Udomsuk. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, be sure to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, much appreciated. Feel free to share if you want. And until next time, keep taking action, make your ideas reality.